Yo, what is up, guys? It is Smc-Cyr back with another video. I believe it is day 8 now of this framework that we are doing. Just basically, today we are getting into IFVGs, probably the king of most confluences, I would say. So, I took this 3-minute gap here. Essentially, this is my trade for the day. I did front run this inverse though. In fact, I was confident on this draw for sure. I just didn't stay on the charts until 10. I saw reaction off of this low, and I essentially TP'd right here, you know, from here. 800 across all accounts today. Not too terrible. Um, but without further ado, let's fucking get into this. Inverse fair value gaps are essentially a failed fair value gap. So look for a strong candlestick closure through the gap that is being traded into. Usually you always want to wait for that extra confirmation of the closure through the gap. As you can see on my example here, the gap is closed above, right? This is a bearish fair value gap, correct? You guys learned that 2 videos ago about the fair value gaps. You guys remember 3 candlestick pattern, correct? So ideally, you would want to see 1, 2, 3 candles only to inverse a gap, you know? Like this. This is super clean displacement downwards, you know? Obviously, it wasn't the cleanest close because we did close all the way down here, but you know, there was a 1-minute rejection block over here that got respected and a higher time frame. There's essentially, we came up at open and swept these highs as well, you know, so there's your liquidity sweep. So essentially, yeah, you're looking for the strong candlestick closure. Obviously you have stuff like consequent encroachment. So like, let's say that we failed to close above like the 50% of this gap. Then I could potentially be switching my thinking here, and we could be coming lower sooner, respecting this gap and not needing to get this LR, essentially, you know. But we had that pretty much exact closure at the consequent encroachment, you know. So here, I will define that for you guys as well. So the consequent encroachment, the CE, is a 50% midpoint of an imbalance, most commonly a fair value gap, and can be used for IFVGs as well. So just like the midpoint of this gap is the consequent encroachment, right? So if we go down to the 1 minute here, yeah, it's a beautiful inverse on the 1 minute. And we displace through the CE of this range. Even if we close below the CE here, I would probably still be looking for this to inverse. You know, I'll be willing to wait 2 or 3 candles for that to inverse then, because we do have all of this displacement. We swept this internal high right off of open, and yeah. So essentially what you can do with inverses and just regular fair value gaps is set like a 5 and 15-minute condition on both sides, right? Especially in ranges like this. See, here's a 5-minute fair value gap that I was looking to play off of as well. That, you know, you look, it's essentially like you can use it as a support level, right? And then you're expecting that to resist off of, almost. We're not trading support and resistance, I'm just using different words for it so you guys can maybe understand. And as you can see here, now we have, here, I will get rid of this. We have this giant 5-minute unfilled, or it's being filled currently, but that can be used as a drawn liquidity as well. Even the consequent encroachment of that, you could have freaking top ticked that, and it might come down and actually grab these Asia lows then, because we failed to close above this. If we close above it, then definitely we could be going there or filling this 5-minute gap. So you kind of see how you can play in between these 5 and 15-minute gaps, you know. So like obviously, if you see bullish is respecting here, obviously we needed to come down, fill these. A lot of people are in sells here, so you need to fill orders. We wick below CE here, right? And you can actually use this candle below as a breaker block, but that's a little bit more advanced. But yeah, boom, CE could come down to these lows now. Since we really don't have anything protecting these lows, since this is filled, we're essentially just generating LRL here so that we can potentially come down and take that and get more bang for the buck, But inverses happen all the time, every time frame essentially. But the highest time frame inverse for value gap that you can take is a 5-minute, because you're not going to wait 15 minutes for a 15-minute gap to inverse. It's not logical. This, see, beautiful inverse. Obviously, we want to see like a better close, but we did freaking close here too. We inversed 2 gaps here, so this would be the discounted gap. Yeah, so I would have entered here probably. There's probably a better, see, scale down. You can find better entries sometimes on like the 3-minute, the 1-minute, and the 30-second. I don't often use the 30-second, but we don't really get that close either way, unfortunately. So yeah, that would be a premium buy, which really wouldn't be the most probable, and your stop loss wouldn't be the best, but obviously, you guys get the point, right? Here's another one. These are just like, I'd say if you know how to take the right ones and you're patient on a trade, it probably plays out 80% of the time. Well, this is actually a pretty clean close. We just don't get the displacement immediately. Here, I'll get the GAN box out of here. See, so obviously you just mark out a regular fair value gap to spot them and mark them out, right? Just mark out a regular one. Okay, we close beneath. This is technically a valid inverse fair value gap then, right? Initial mitigation. Unfortunately, we don't sweep, but we probably could make a bearish SMT with NASDAQ. This is Friday, July 17th. Looks like we didn't make the SMT, but we do get an inverse, and actually we get super clean delivery to our draw on NQ here. Oh yeah, I just killed a bug with my hand. I don't know why there's all these bugs down here, but I had some fucking back today. Just fucking 7 working sets, just going pretty hard. But yeah, man, look at this. Clean ass delivery on NQ. Oops. I don't know what I'm doing, bro. could enter, obviously using discretion. You could put your fucking stop above this high if you want. It's a fucking fat stop, but I would put my stop right here personally and target this low. You know, obviously it's way easier to see here because it's hindsight, right? Like, I'm not an idiot. I know that this is a hindsight trade. Obviously, I'm just trying to show you guys an example so you guys can understand, you know. It doesn't have to be the world's biggest gap either. Just like practice marking them out and identifying them, and then back test it if you really want to. Back test it. See what your win rate is with it. If you're good with using this confluence, you know, you could wait for that retap into the inverse, you know, CE of the inverse, and you could get your discretionary entry right there and target these highs. You know what I'm saying, guys? You guys know what I'm saying. I know you do. You guys are smart. You guys got this shit. So I actually do apologize for not posting all weekend. On Friday night, I drank literally like 7.5 liters of wine at least. I threw up like 4 times. I slept till 3 p.m. on Saturday. But Sunday I was already recovered. Actually, Saturday night I went bowling too, so I like literally had no time on Saturday. I was like jam-packed on the weekend, and then Sunday woke up late pretty much again, like 11 or some shit, because I closed my blinds, just couldn't wake up. Hit the gym, whatever, got everything done that I needed to do yesterday, and got to bed at a decent time. And I also started watching Devil May Cry on Netflix, and that shit is insane. If you guys don't know, I'm a huge anime fan. So, here, let me show you new pickups. New pickups quick. Alright, look at this shit. We got Goku. This shit tough. And we got Rono Zoro. I got Nico Robin. I got some shit from Bleach. I got Brook, Invincible, Luffy, everything, bro. Come on now. You can't play with me like that, for real. I got that insane trading setup. But the thing is, as soon as I bought my trading setup, it paid for itself with trading, like literally. It's insane. But, yeah, guys. That is pretty much it for inverses. What I want you guys to do for homework, if you've never actually used an inverse, spend 10 to 20 minutes back testing these, right? Obviously you need to see good displacement out, but yeah. Good displacement, using your discretion. Discretion can't be taught, unfortunately. It's just like something that you learn in the market over time, you know. So I'll go over this one more time. It's a confirmation confluence. It's called the inverse fair value gap. Cooper, you should be watching this shit because you need to relearn. An IVG is essentially a failed fair value gap. Look for a strong candlestick closure through the gap that is being traded into. This confluence works best on the 1, 3, 5-minute time frames. Alright? Don't use this shit on the 15-minute time frame. You can set conditions for regular fair value gaps on 15-minute time frame, you know? But don't look for that shit to get inversed. And like, an example I guess is like a 1-hour gap could get inverse, and then you look for a market structure shift, essentially. Some sort of break of structure, and then using a lower time frame inverse to take a trade in that direction then. You guys feel what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, I believe that will be it for today. I'll hit you guys with the SMT divergence video tomorrow, and you guys have a fucking great Monday. I hope you guys crush it on the charts today.